All right. Okay. Cool. Let me go ahead and share this. Mm, All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And yeah, as you can see in the title here, okay, must see civil war brewing in the UK. And I have, quite a few tabs here of similar posts that you can see of footage of what's going on currently in the UK in different parts. You have tensions that have pretty much overflown and sparking between, migrants and, different, people of different, almost like a mix of race war and all this other stuff going on in here. So, we're gonna get into it and Lord willing be edifying because at the end of the day, this is all pertaining to prophecy. Now, what's also interesting is the fact that let me see. What's also interesting is the fact that a lot of these situations are sparking between so-called migrants, right, and those that are against it, and so we kept talking about the situation that was going on not only here, right, because you had the migrant influx and all of that was also happening in some of these European countries as well. Okay, and so with all that happening, now you're starting to see why it is, which most of these posts that we're looking at, they, they tell you this is also something that is coming to America, okay, which is inevitable pretty much at this point. And so people need to be ready for that. And, unfortunately, it doesn't look like people are. So anyway, go ahead and just, yeah, 1 second. Let's go ahead and share screen again. So this is the first of a few parts that I have here. Some of them, I might mute it if they have like music in the background. Some of them, I might just let it play, but you can sort of get some visuals of what's actually going on over there. Right. So here it says group of migrant men kicking an alleged anti-mass immigration protester unconscious. So basically, it's like the migrants versus those that are against it. Right. So let's take a look here. This is from Middlesbrough, if I'm saying that.
He's flat out. He's flat out. He's actually flat out. He's flat out. He's flat out. He's actually flat out.
So let me just turn that down, that music in the back. But yeah, so this is just one, right? And then and this is all being seen, right? At the end of the day, they're the so-called leaders, whatever government, they're seeing this. And I also have a video of that as well. Now this here says fed up taxpayers storm hotels, housing asylum seeking Rotherham, South Yorkshire, UK. So you had in the first one we just saw migrant men attacking an anti-immigration individual. Here you have quote unquote taxpayers who are saying we're tired of you sending our tax money to this, and now we're about to do something about it. Keep in mind, right, that since um, a couple of years or even more than that, what you've started to see is a trend, right? You see something happening here, then all of a sudden it just starts to go all around the world, you know, in like in a very contagious way. So this is definitely, not a far-fetched thing to see happening in the UK, but also coming to the US, especially now, which they're already talking about it. And what's also interesting about this is recently, just this year alone, you had that movie, right? Predictive programming. You had that movie come out called what? Civil War. And so, I mean, there's divide everywhere. Okay, but we're gonna see how things play out. All right. Eventually, people are gonna get so fed up that you're gonna start to see things like this. So there you go. Now, at the end of the day, right, whether this is set up, this is staged, this is organic, right? Sometimes, most of the time, it's a mix of both, right? You have like certain, provocateurs in there, and then you have a mix of some that are actually organic. But the point is, this is still playing into a narrative, right? This is still playing to the point of accomplishing some goal, getting society to some point where now it's justifiable to do something, to take some action against it, right? Because then they're going to say, well, we can't just sit around and let this happen, but you provoked it, right?
Oh shit, man, they're in. They're in. Oh wow. Oh, keep running! Where are you bastards? They're in! Fucking hell! They are the going upstairs at last. Get him!
Now you notice this didn't happen right in the very beginning, right? This is like now that look at some of these comments. Now that some time has, passed, a lot of the migrants have come in, and it's all like, it's now established, like, okay, this many people are in here. Now you're starting to have all of a sudden, right, this spark of just tensions between them going on, as the scriptures talk about one nation, right, or one people against another, right, with swords in their hands, which represent weapons. Okay. um Look at that. Now, in the midst of all of this, just got another breaking news headline that says here, jittery Israel braces for five-front war as officials predict Iran to attack Monday. And that's a very big, you know, deal. Okay. Now, I saw another post that mentioned Iran basically, um, ignoring the US's call for restraint against attacking Israel. They said, nah, F that. We're done. We're not doing that shit. So this is all pertaining to prophecy. All right. Now we're going to watch and see how it plays out, but things are picking up, okay, in the right direction. So let's take a look here, see what else we got on here. Right now, this is, which I'm going to share in a second. This is what I was referring to, right? It says here now, Starmer, quote unquote, you will regret taking part in this disorder. So what does that mean? Right? Violent riots continue across United Kingdom. So let's hear what he has to say here.
Those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
Now, if you caught that, you hear how, along with the streets, they throw in the online, right? The online, the online, the online, which goes towards that censorship agenda, right? Which is, it's not just what's on the streets, but now those that are so-called inciting it or organizing it online, now they're just as guilty. Okay. So you can already, if you have some idea of what their goals are, you can already start to see how it is that these events that keep popping up are playing right into into their hands. And we've been going into these precepts for a while, but this is just the beginning. Okay, this is just the beginning, and when things really turn up, they will turn up. All right, when you actually start to see firsthand these things, not from a screen, not from somebody recording it, in a different country or even in a different state, but you start to see this as you're driving to the store or you're on your way back from work or something like that. It'll get pretty bad. The scriptures do not call this a time like never before for no reason, right? The prophets didn't refer to this time, as such a fearful time for no reason. And keep in mind, the men back then had more of a stomach, right? For lack of a better word, than people today do, right? They could stomach more things, in terms of just like gruesome or just the realness of things and difficulties more than people now can. And even they, when they saw these things, complained and spoke out of fear. How much more for us that are living in this time? All right. Let's take a look here. And here's another one. All right, Newcastle. A fight broke out between the British and Muslim immigrants in Newcastle. Newcastle is rioting. Okay, so now here we go. Yeah, he's going right back in there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Bring peace, man. You're bleeding, man. You're bleeding on your head, man. You're bleeding on your head.
Yeah. So you definitely missed that. Um, so there you go. That's another example of what you got going on over there. All right. Now let's go take a look over here. 1 second. All right. Anyway, so it says here migrant men armed with sticks are literally beating people in the streets of England while screaming Allahu Akbar, coming to an American city near you. England has fallen. Take a look. So it's just it's just we keep telling you a matter of time. Now, there's a difference between this kind of uh riots or chaos, and I'm not saying, I mean, we all have to watch and see, right, whether this ends up dying down like the rest of them or this escalates far more, into what we expect, and i.e. the time of Jacob's trouble. But there's still a difference here, right? Because when you take a look at something like BLM protest or the George Floyd protest and stuff like that, most of that was people coming against what, going to protest against the government or the policing system and those kinds of things, right? So in that case, they're going against a body of government or whatever they want to call it. That is different than one people going against another, right? Because now you have migrants against anti, people that are against, immigration and migrants and yada yada. And then, you have what you're seeing here, right? Migrant men beating, people up in the streets with sticks, screaming Allahu Akbar. So it's one side of people against another side. That's different. That's like if you had a gang going against the police versus a gang going against another gang. Most of the time, when one gang goes against the police, if they try to, it doesn't really it doesn't really continue or drag on too much, right? Because when you're dealing with the police, now you're dealing with a much bigger body, right? Until at some point they shut it down. But when you got one gang going against another, how long have, like, certain famous gangs that have been around been what they call beefing for, right? One side against another, then another later on, then this side takes revenge, then this side takes revenge, and they just keep on going back and forth. See, so this is different, right? This is different from um going and coming against, the policing system. Because, I mean, if you think about it, right, you go and you protest. How do the authorities react? They try to find out who protested, and then they try to come and find you and place arrests and all of that, right? If you're going against another group of people, let's say migrants versus citizens or something like that, now you have a case of, you could literally be outside and just randomly somebody who perceives that you are a migrant or you are a non-migrant or whatever now just comes and attacks your ass. So it's like at any point, any moment, somebody can just come, straight after your ass, right? So there's a difference here between the kind of unrest that you're starting to see, at least what's going on over here in the UK. And like the elder mentioned in our chat, it's different, right? Because you think about it, most of the time in the UK, you'll see like scooters and knives and shit, right? Like they'll use knives or sticks or something like that. But most of the time over here in the US, you see more use of guns than knives, right? So imagine how much more violent it'll be when it comes over here. And then people have already said it, they've already voiced it out. Now, to see and to hear about this already going on in the UK makes it more um, contagious, right? It makes it more likely to happen in places elsewhere. And it's the same thing, right? If you had intentions of doing something, and then now you see somebody else or a group of other people are doing it, then it makes you more likely to do it, because now you're not the only one, or you're not the first one. So this is important news to pay attention to. At the same time, the news going on with Israel, Iran, and all of that, the US, that's also something important to pay attention to. And the thing about these prophecies is, it's not, just one. It's not just one thing that you get to focus on. No, when you even read about what Yahushua said, he talked about wars and rumors of wars. He talked about people standing up to fight against another. He talked about famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So it's all these things culminating, happening at once, and you can't catch a break. You can't press pause. You can't. Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to be a part of this. So imagine that you are an older person or somebody who has no idea what's going on, and all of a sudden one day you outside and you just getting attacked by a group of people and you don't even know why. They just yelling shit at you. Eventually it gets dangerous enough, people don't want to leave their house. And then you have civil unrest, and then the states of emergencies that get declared, and then the troops start to come in the streets. But let's see. So the next one here, what we got? This is from Dili Hussein. Mosques have been targeted in Southport, uh, Hartlepool, and Sunderland. So you have the case with migrants and taxpayers and all of that. Then you have this case with, like, Muslims, right? As they're showing in here, and like regular, non-Muslims or whatever the case is. And it's interesting that this dynamic is like playing its way in here as well, because those even when you look on a higher scale, when you read about the letter, I think it was between Giuseppe Mazzini, I always forget how to pronounce his name, and Albert Pike, about the three world wars. In the Third World War, they mentioned about it being between the Zionist and the Arab world, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But the point is, when they mention the Arab world, they're talking, obviously, you have different nations, right? Because Arab really just means mixture. You have like Elamites and Ishmaelites and so on and so forth. But a lot of them are joined together or banded because of that same religion. So it's interesting how that's also, sort of playing in here, because the scriptures tell us one people, right, against another. And those people can be collectively based on religion, it can be based on class, it can be based on race. But we know that this is all according to what? Biblical prophecy. And the beautiful thing about it is, thanks be to the Lord, we understand what's actually happening, and really ultimately where it's going to lead to. Look at that. Oh shoot. Well, another one. Let me grab this one here and post it up here real quick. This is real interesting here. Let's see. All right. Let me pull this up here. So now you're seeing here, it says here, traffic being controlled in Middlesbrough according to color of skin. This is frightening. What does that sound like? Right? What does that sound like? And this isn't something new, right? This is something that's been talked about, for a while, right? Now there's divisions based on what they call race, right? Color. Let's take a look. And also, in situations like this, it's very easy to make more out of what it already is, right? If there's already chaos and tension going on, it's very easy to add more fuel to the fire, so to speak. So let's keep on reading this. It has some footage under, but it says here, Asian. Let me see, 1 second. It says here, Asian man walking alone was punched by a rioter in Hartlepool while others laughed at him. See that? Like, it's not, it's not even, people are not trying to, what they call, how they call that, like stop it or just like be like peacemakers. No, no, no. This is straight up, okay, one side against another. You got punched, people start laughing. Right? Asian Uber driver was attacked in Sunderland by a mob while a van driven by a white man was left alone. So do you see the sort of narrative that this is starting to go in? Right? That's that racial divide, right? I.e., we gearing towards that race war, that division. Black passengers hid in a bus out of fear of thugs targeting them in Sunderland. Rioters chanting, "Who the F is Allah?" Police station and police cars torched. Shops looted and local residents scared to come out of their homes. None of the above has anything to do with the slain children of Southport, illegal immigration, unemployment, or quote unquote getting our country back. It has everything to do with a deep hatred for Muslims and non-whites. Doesn't matter if you were born in the UK and a criminal impulse to riot and loot. Let's be brutally honest, many right-wing patriots and the far right only have an issue when non-whites commit crimes. Otherwise, they wouldn't give a rat's about white criminals. Now, behind the scenes, the ultimate agenda of all this is what? Is to cause chaos. Okay? That's the whole point. They want chaos. They're not interested. I mean, those behind the scenes that are like pulling the strings, that are fanning the flames, to put it as it were. um those people are, their ultimate goal is to get chaos. Order ab chaos. Order out of chaos. You need chaos for the new order that they want to instill. And then they say, look, let me give you an example. You allow your child to have freedom to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm talking about maybe like a toddler. And then they keep on doing this thing. You keep telling them, don't do this, then they do it. Don't do this, then they do it. Don't do this, then they do it. So eventually you, I don't know, put them in some area where they can't, you literally put them in a position to where they cannot do what it is you kept telling them not to do. whether it's a baby, putting a baby back in a crib in a place where they can't crawl out of it. And that's pretty much the angle they're trying to go with, right? Except in this case, they're actually provoking you. So they provoke people to do something that they come out and tell you not to do. And then they respond by now coming down with such harsh draconian measures that you don't even get the opportunity to do these things anymore. And then they're justified by saying, well, we did tell you not to do it. So let's take a look at some of this here.
Aftermath, that's someone bringing his pen.
Oh, this is unfortunate timing for bro walking down the street. She's infiltrating.
Turn in. Oh! Fucking hell, I caught that. Fucking hell, if I caught that.
Screen record.
Nah, man, no, it fucking was.
Good call us. Good call us.
He's just been assaulted, that gentleman.
Get him on the bike, mate. Get yourself, do yourself a little footprint.
So he just got punched in the face trying to go in that direction. See her? She don't look too nothing like this. But she looks scared. Right, because these people are trying to get on the bus. So, you know, they're trying to hide and then so on and so forth. So she doesn't look happy, right? She doesn't look, you know, like she's gonna turn into Wonder Woman and do all this, that, and the third. And when it comes to this place, a lot of people are going to be humbled, right? Because reality is the ultimate humbler. You talk and think whatever you want to talk and think, but at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, it's not about clout, it's not about how you look, it's not about your image. When your life is in danger, that's when you see how people truly react. And a lot of people who talk a tough game and play that tough guy, tough girl, whatever act, when you're faced with these kinds of situations where somebody's chasing you with a knife or a gun or something like that, and you're turning around and there's literally people around, but they're not trying to help you, right? Because they all look like the person that's chasing you. And maybe they start to join in. And then you barely make it home alive with bruises on your face and all that, whether you're a man or a woman. Then you're gonna realize how reality really is. Then you're gonna get an eye opener, or really an eye closer. But anyway, you know, when you turn on the news and you see what society that you're living in has turned into. The same society you try to turn a blind eye to because you just want to focus on school, or you just want to focus on work, or you just want to focus on ignoring all of these things and acting like they're not happening. Now you just got your ass jumped and beat up on your way home, and now you have to face the fact that this is reality. So now you step outside and you're like looking at everybody funny. Are these guys thinking about, you know, coming for me? Are these guys?
No need for this at all. Fucking shit myself. Who wants taxi?
And you know, eventually, you know, if things start getting lethal, I think that's when, you know, people start to
Someone bringing his
things a little
pen.
different, right? There you go.
Unfortunate timing for bro.
All right, let's take a look at this one here. Now, this says here China is extremely concerned with the civil unrest in the UK. Right, this is by Zhao Dashua. Yeah, Dashuai, if I'm saying that right. Arrests in the UK and attacks on ethnic minorities. We urge the UK government to do everything in their capacity to ensure the safety of minorities. China reserves the right to intervene if the situation in the UK does not improve. Now, I don't know how true this is. I don't know if this is just somebody that got up and somebody just got up and posted this, right? But or if it's actually something that's sent a sentiment that's echoed by China. Who knows, right? We'll see. But look at some of these replies, right? Shut the f up. England belongs to the indigenous. Yeah. So interesting. Let's take a look here. Look at that. Now the police come in, and look, honestly, man, the whole batons, tear gas, water cannons, that's all played out. Like eventually, as things get bad, like people get frustrated to the point where you know lives are going to start to be lost. Right? The scriptures talk about a time of great death. So just getting punched in the face or just getting dragged or getting forced back another way, that's like the Lord described the beginning of sorrows. That's nothing compared to how things, how reality turns out when people start getting used to actually, committing these like murderous kind of crimes. And that's when things get so bad, they're not going to be sending these people out here with riot shields and batons. That's not going to do shit. Eventually it's not going to do anything. So there's that. Taking a look here as well. Let's take a look and see what we got. Civil war breaking out in the UK. This is what Spitfire posted. Are Americans ready for this? Put Kamala Harris in there and find out. And this is also spoken about, right, as a sign of the end times in the book of Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, right? It was mentioned when you see uproars of the people around the world, then you're gonna know that these are the same times when the Lord is going to visit the world which He made. Now, you have also situations that is going on, right? Situations similar to this, but you had the whole case in Venezuela, right? I believe it was Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken, with the whole presidential election situation, and the country pretty much descended into chaos. All right, so a lot of things are happening, and the prophecies are not isolated to just America, though. A lot of the main ones, the main focal area for a lot of these judgments is America. It's not just isolated to Babylon. Okay, and I believe I already played this one, right, where they were storming this migrant hotel over here. So anyway, I wanna get this precept here, just two of them pertaining to prophecy. These are sort of like go-tos, right? Because in Matthew the 24th chapter, this is what the Lord told the disciples when they asked them for signs to know, okay, how do we know we're at the end of the world? How do we know we're at the point where you're going to make your return, your second return? And this is what the Lord told them. Some of the things were pertaining to what was going to happen sometime after He left, right? Still within their age. And some of the things that were going to happen in this time that we're living in. So now jumping to Matthew 24, verse, just getting straight to the point, verse 6. This is one of the signs the Lord mentioned, right? Which is, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. when you hear that Israel and the U.S. expect Iran to attack Israel on Monday, what do you think that is? When you hear that Israel is getting ready for a full scale war because Iran is about to attack them, that's a rumor of war. And at the same time, you have wars that are actually going on right now. Okay, and then there's rumors of greater wars. So the Lord said, when we hear that we're gonna hear of these things, right? But see that ye be not troubled. So don't lose your mind because of these things happening. For all these things must come to pass, meaning all these things have to happen. Is prophesied, so it has to happen. But the end is not yet. So yeah, we're seeing these articles. Yeah, we're hearing about this, but the end, where where the destruction, the ultimate destruction comes, it's not yet, because there's still things that need to happen in between before the end comes. One of those main things being the fulfillment of the prophecy of the mark of the beast, pertaining to Revelation 13 and 16 to 18. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. When it says rise against, that's the tensions, that's the wars, the fighting. And there shall be famines and pestilences, right? You're at the same time as all this is happening, a lot of people are not paying attention, but cases for that H5N1, the angry bird, are rising. And when it starts to become, more known, people are going to think that, oh, this came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. Right? It kept climbing and climbing and climbing, but there was so much going on that people's minds weren't on it. And earthquakes in diverse places at the same time. You're having the weather, crazy weather phenomena. You're having volcanoes erupting. You're having natural disasters, right? It says in diverse places, so in different parts. All these are the beginning of sorrows. These are letting you know, hey, when you start to see these things, just know that it's time. Because now shit is really about to get started. That's what it means, beginning of sorrows. The sorrows are just now beginning. This is just a sign to show you that things are just now about to get bad. Okay? So people really need to, I mean, you gotta really buckle up, because it's about to get real. It's already getting real, but it's about to get even more real. And we're gonna need to solely and fully rely on Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, having that full faith. You might need to leave wherever it is that you're currently residing. Who knows? But you got to have faith and trust in the Lord. Remember, like when you actually look at right now how feeble we are, the human life, right? It's so very easy for you to lose your life. You can step the wrong way, trip, and hit the back of your head on the wrong side of the pavement, and you're dead, just like that. Somebody can literally just walk behind you with a sharp object, poke you in the right area, and you die. You wouldn't survive. You can get hit in the head with a stray bullet. You can get hit in the head with a brick. You can get hit by a car. So many. You can get attacked by a wild animal. Like it's so just like that. And then you back in the spur world, back in the lobby. you know. Anyway, this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And that's the thing. As things get real, that's when people are gonna want to listen. Now people want to sit down and ask questions and okay, so what do we do now? And but only a certain few are gonna be, you know, blessed with mercy to find the right people and to be guided in the right way so that they can survive these times. But that's not going to be the case for everybody. So it says here, where we at? For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, meaning it's close. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Well, guess what? We just saw a few, not a few, but a good amount of clips of one people. This is just an example, right? But over there in the UK, one group of people going against another, right? Having different, whether it's sticks or bricks or fists, you know, or actual knives or whatever. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So guess what? Invading one another, if they're doing this in the street, if they're blocking traffic based on skin color, if they're punching people in the face just because of what they look like, attacking people, eventually, if things get bad enough, remember, like even if you look at America and even certain areas, a lot of people are still segregated by nationality. There's some place called Chinatown, right? Was it New Jamaica or something like that? Like there's different areas where predominantly these kind of people live here. That's just known. So when things like that happen, guess what? You're gonna have people getting invaded, yeah, because hard times are gonna be there. Some people, there's famines and stuff like that. People are gonna go into these rich neighborhoods trying to find things, but also as tensions flare up, groups are gonna band together and start going up into these other neighborhoods where they know that the other groups that they're against live, and start breaking up into those houses and start committing heinous crimes and acts against them, because the Lord is going to put that kind of spirit upon the earth where these things are going to be happening, because it's to fulfill prophecy. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And that's what's getting ready to happen, because it is written. Okay, it's all prophetic. Okay, it's all prophecy, and it's going to come to pass. So we're definitely living in a time of the fulfillment of these last few prophecies, and being the most intense prophecies. As the Lord said, we got to watch as well as pray and prepare your minds for the kinds of things that you're going to have to go through, the kinds of decisions you're going to have to make, and the kinds of things you're going to have to endure in order to make it to the end. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.